Welcome back, everybody, to Lando's Draft Room. Today, we're going to be talking about R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma, one of the more intriguing pass rushers in this year's draft, I'd say. Not my favorite pass rusher in this year's draft, just because I think there are size and measurable flaws that are going to bite his game at the next level. Not to say I think he's going to be a bad player. I actually think his skill set is going to line up very well in the NFL. There are just going to be some limitations to his game, and we're going to talk about him in this video, so let's just get straight into it. R. Mason Thomas has been a two-year starter for Oklahoma. Last year, he played his junior season at Oklahoma, came back for a senior season, balled out, has been really productive the past two seasons for Oklahoma. I don't have these stats pulled up in front of me, but really talented pass rusher, R. Mason Thomas is. R. Mason Thomas finished this year with 6.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 26 tackles, 18 solo tackles. Like I said, productive pass rusher, played on a defensive line with just guys everywhere that are going to be in the NFL, so it was hard for him to just dominate snap share at Oklahoma. While he was their best pass rusher off the edge, it was hard for him to get put in a lot of great situations for him to just get straight after the passer. And he also missed the back half of the season due to injury, so he wasn't able to put up production that way. Right after the Tennessee fumble recovery for 6, I believe he tweaked something in his hamstring, missed a couple games. I think he came back for the playoff game. Yeah, missed a good chunk of the regular season towards the back half. Fun fact about R. Mason Thomas was initially committed to Iowa State before switching to Oklahoma. He was a 4-star recruit according to 24/7 Sports and On3. Barely played his freshman year. He had a half sack through 10 games, was injured throughout the entirety of that season. Like I mentioned earlier, really broke through in 2024. He started 11 of 13 games. He had 23 tackles, 12.5 tackles for loss, and 9 sacks. Forced 2 fumbles in that season as well. Look, incredibly productive player, man. He's been productive for 2 straight years now in a defense that is very hard to pick up on in Brent Venables' scheme. Some of the things R. Mason Thomas is really good at. He has lightning quick first step. He can create immediate separations from tackles. He's able to contort his body in such a way that just completely eviscerates blocking angles sometimes. With that first step twitch, that first step bend, his speed to power. He doesn't have a super deep array of pass rush moves, but he wins with his bend, he wins with his hand placement, and he wins with his speed to power. Like I just mentioned, the bend he has is really good. I think when you watch him in the combine do the little hoop drills, he's going to be somebody that looks really good at that drill. That's going to be something he specializes in, no doubt. He has pretty sophisticated hand fighting technique. It's not perfect 100% of the time, but he has a nice little array of long arm moves and swipes that can kind of keep pass protectors away from his frame, giving him the advantage, the ability to disengage or the ability to bend, the ability to just separate and get after the quarterback. Where he truly shines is when he beats his initial blocker. His pursuit to the quarterback might be the best in the class. When he is past the initial first line of defense at tackle or guard or whoever picks him up, he is scary how quick he can get after the quarterback. Those finishing plays for him is not going to be a problem. It's not going to be a problem, and that is a big thing with pass rushers. What good is winning the first rep or winning the initial rep if you can't actually get after the quarterback? R. Mason Thomas gets after the quarterback. And in order to succeed in a Brent Venables scheme, you have to have a motor that borderlines obsession. It has to walk the fine line of obsession, pure willpower to want to execute every single play, every single assignment, and to just murder the person in front of you. And it shows when he doesn't initially win, the first move, when he doesn't succeed with his initial pass rush plan. It's not like he just gives up on the play. He doesn't have a super deep array of counter moves, but that'll come with time. If he gets put in the right system with the right D-line coach, that will come with time. What you can't teach is the relentless motor. He gets beat, okay, I'm hedging one direction to make sure the quarterback can't step up in the pocket. I'm jumping to deflect a ball. It's everything that you would want in a pass rusher who isn't super hyper dynamic, right off the jump. Like I mentioned earlier, he has deceptive play strength. He does not look like a super imposing edge, like I mentioned earlier with the height and weight. 6'2", lower than 250 pounds, he's not a guy who's, first guy off the bus as an edge rusher. You're not going to see that from him. But what you will see on tape is excellent pad level. He gets into the opponent's frame at a high level. He gets into the opponent's frame at an extremely high level. And despite his modest frame, putting that pretty generously, despite his modest frame, he's got a good enough anchor to move bigger bodies in the run game. He's not as bad of a run defender as you would think, given his size. He just really isn't. He's a smart pass rusher as well, really smart run defender. His awareness on field really shines when he's trying to maintain his rush depth. He's never over pursuing. He's never under pursuing. He's never leaving wide open angles. It's just not something that you see on his tape very often, and I think that comes from him playing in a very specific scheme with a very specific assignment for multiple years and just getting so fluid, so consistent, and just stacking good reps every single game. I think this is somebody that's going to be able to play all three downs early, because despite the size, he's a pretty good run defender. He's a better pass rusher than he is a run defender, but he's not going to be a net negative run defender in the long run. It might not look amazing right away, but he's going to be fine in that aspect down the line. And a shocking part of his game that I really wasn't expecting before diving into his tape is he does have the ability to cover an open field. You're not going to want him to cover a wide receiver or a running back, obviously, for very long, but if you have an inline tight end that he has to drop out to the flat to cover, he can do it. And he can make open field tackles. He's that good of an athlete. Now, it's hard to ignore some of the flaws. I mean, the frame at 240 pounds, he's going to be an obvious mismatch in the NFL. He just is. There's going to be tackles who are 40, 50, 60 pounds bigger than him on a very consistent basis that he's going to face every week, so he's going to have to show the ability to adjust against bigger and more developed bodies. The injury history is obviously something to be wary of. I mean, the ankle problems is frightening. You don't want to get to a point where he just can't get on the field. Now, for him being 6'2", I saw too many reps where he was playing way too high. I said the pad level is good because when the pad level is good, he's a very dominant player, and it's not often that he comes in too high with his pads. It's pretty consistently he has his hands placed in the right area. The pads are below the tackles. It's typically pretty good, but every now and then you'll see him get too high and he'll get moved. He'll get completely washed out of the run game. That's got to get fixed, to say the least. That's got to get fixed. Like I previously mentioned, again, limited counter move arsenal. He relies really heavily on his speed, which when he plays more advanced and technically sound tackles in the NFL, they're going to be able to limit that. So at some point, he's going to have to add some kind of counter move, whether it be a chop and spin or a dip and rip or just a simple left-right hezzy. I mean, he's going to have to learn something to get after the quarterback that isn't just let me win with my speed. And he'll win with his speed, but it can't be like that every single time. So to put a bow on this whole thing, R. Mason Thomas is going to walk into the league as a pass rush specialist who you can sell because he has an explosive first step, really natural bend. It can create problems for tackles relatively quickly. His pass rush instincts and hand techniques just continues to get better, continues to get more refined year by year, game by game. And I'm sure as we get more into the process, the ankle problems that kind of kept him off the field for a majority of his college career, I shouldn't say a majority, but a bit of his college career, that will have to get evaluated. If that gets a pass from the medical staff, I have a hard time not seeing this guy vastly overperform his draft stock. I mean, I see people putting him in late round 2, late round 3. To me, that just doesn't make sense. I think he's put together too good of tape as a pure pass rusher for him to not bypass that ranking. We'll see how it plays out, obviously, but big fan of R. Mason Thomas. Big fan of R. Mason Thomas. I think a team looking to get some speed and some natural bend, some natural quickness at pass rusher, especially on third downs, should look to take R. Mason Thomas.